Welcome to the But First Bible Daily Devotional Podcast with Dave Myers. Our readings for today are from Psalm chapters 1 through 3 and Acts chapter 16 verse 1 to 15. Well, today we begin the book of Psalms, the middle of the Bible, the prayer book of the Bible, the hymnal of the Bible, a book that covers all sorts of human emotions, the highs of life, the lows of life, and everything in between. Athanasius said that the book of Psalms is an epitome of the whole scriptures. Martin Luther said the book of Psalms is a little Bible and the summary of the Old Testament. And John Calvin said that the book of Psalms is a mirror of the soul. And so we begin with the opening psalm from the book of Psalms, Psalm chapter 1. And in Psalm chapter 1, we see that there are only two ways to live. There is the way of the righteous and there is the way of the wicked. Let me read to you about the way of the righteous. Psalm chapter 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water, that yield its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. There is the way of the righteous. But from verse 4 to verse 6, we see the way of the wicked. Verse 4, the wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore, the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. It really is a wonderful vision. In the book of Psalms, we see the importance of obedience. Obedience to God matters. Delighting in his law, living his way, seeking his will. But the reality is that though we should strive to be righteous, the reality is that no one is righteous. We'll see later in Psalm 29 that no one is righteous. And therefore, if no one is ultimately righteous, the result for all is that we are deserving of judgment. Psalm chapter 1 gives a wonderful vision of the way of the righteous and the way of the wicked, and yet we land considering who are we and where do we stand before God because of our unrighteousness. But the good news is that the book of Psalms doesn't finish with Psalm 1. Psalm 1 leads straight into Psalm 2. And in Psalm 2 we read that there is one who is righteous. There is an anointed one who does God's will. And so Psalm chapter 2 verse 6 says, "The Lord said to me, you are my son, today I have begotten you." And we know from the New Testament that those are words that are applied directly to Jesus, God's own Son, God the Son. He is righteous. And by the end of Psalm 2, verse 12, we see it says, "Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way, for his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all who take refuge in him." We see that at the start of Psalm chapter 1, verse 1, that blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked. But we see by Psalm chapter 2, verse 12, that even those who have been wicked and been unrighteous can be blessed. How can they be blessed? By taking refuge in the Son. Brothers and sisters, this morning, let me encourage you to take refuge in the Son, Jesus. Jesus lived your life. Jesus died your death, and Jesus rose to give you life. So take refuge in him and find salvation and blessing from God. Until tomorrow, keep trusting Jesus.